Mike, turn your games down.
Time for a movie episode of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and what does Mike Albertin always say when he's confronted with an issue?
Hey everybody, it's Kenneth Sanity, and yes sir, the check is in the mail.
And I'm Bill Tucker from A Gamer Looks at 40, and you just listen to the old Pork Chop Express and take his advice on a dark and stormy night, all right? When some wild-eyed 8-foot-tall maniac grabs your neck, taps the back of your favorite head up against the barroom wall, and he looks you crooked in the eye and asks you if you paid your dues, you just stare that big sucker right in the eye, and you remember what old Jack Burton always says at a time like that. Have you paid your dues, Jack? Yes, sir. The check is in the mail.
And this is Zach Huge Thanks at absolutely the best podcast of work in progress. And I'm talking to whoever's listening out there. It's like I told my last wife, I says, honey, I never podcast faster than I can see. Besides that, it's all in the reflexes.
Oh, that's good.
Bill, you had my backup one.
Okay. Because when I saw this, I'm like, well, it was very easy because I usually don't think about what I'm going to say on the show beforehand. As soon as I heard that little monologue, I said, well, that's it. I'm just going to work on that. And I spent some time just today actually working on it. So
I love this movie. So this is actually a Patreon voted movie because I did a poll of Mike's favorite movies. And you guys voted for Big Trouble in Little China. It came out in 1986, directed by John Carpenter. I think this is the second or third John Carpenter movie we've done on this podcast. Yeah, third.
Well, you've done Halloween, right?
Yep, yeah. Halloween. And
we've done The Thing.
Yep.
Maybe the third. Yeah, I think that's right.
Wow. Do more.
We
I have
should.
another one planned.
Definitely a few more that you should do.
Yeah.
So I have another one planned that's going to happen during this Spooktober.
Nice.
For sure. Because Ken asked for Mouth of Madness, so we're doing that at some point.
Yes.
That's a good one.
I've yet to see it. I've yet to see it. I've yet to see it. I'm looking forward.
Interesting.
Although I have not been invited to that episodes. Here I am inviting myself. But
I haven't been planned yet. It's on my list of things to do. So
that's fine.
You are going to be invited when that time comes. I just haven't gotten that far.
Lovely.
Because if I remember correctly, isn't that part of like a 3-part series, Ken, you said?
It is part of John Carpenter's Apocalypse trilogy. They include The Thing, Prince of Darkness, and In the Mouth of Madness.
Oops, we're doing it in the wrong order.
Prince of Darkness is a little headier than the other two.
That one freaked me out bad as a kid.
Like it's hella good.
Yeah.
But it's slower, less bombastic.
It's got Dennis, what's his name, from this movie in it too.
Yep, Dennis Dunn and Victor Wong from this movie are in Prince of Darkness. So
okay, we'll get there. I couldn't remember it. I just remembered Mouth of Madness, so that got put on the potential schedule. What I want to do for this Spooktober. Right. So I like starting with memories. I have seen this movie so many times when I was a kid because it just used to be on TV or on cable or whatever. I just remember my dad constantly having this movie on, and I always would see parts of this movie. So I don't know it line for line, but I know it scene by scene. I know exactly what's coming, everything like perfectly. Once I've seen this movie, and I just love this film. I think this is the movie. The reason why I like the kung fu action stuff that I do like, or at least I did as a kid. Because this movie combined fantasy, it combined kung fu action, like all that stuff just put together, and just it's a fantastic little movie. And I actually own this on Blu-ray, which is not, I don't own a whole ton of movies, but I had this on Blu-ray for years.
Wow.
I think a friend of mine gifted to me in high school. Either that or maybe the DVD gifted me in high school. I don't remember.
Have you watched the director commentary?
No, never have.
Oh man,
you should.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot about the movie.
It's so good though.
It's hilarious. They're just cracking each other up the whole time. It's John Carpenter and Kurt Russell.
And this is the first Kurt Russell movie I ever saw too.
Yeah, probably mine as well. Oh no,
Jack, what's your history with this movie?
So this is probably my second favorite John Carpenter movie after The Thing. It's probably tied with They Live. That's another personal favorite of mine. I was 9 when it came out in the theater, so I'm certain I didn't see it then. And I didn't have cable, but somehow I got a hold of a copy of it on VHS when I was around 12, and me and my best friend just watched the shit out of it. Just every chance we got, we watched this movie. I've seen it so many times. And as a matter of fact, that same friend later named his firstborn son Jack after Kurt Russell in this movie. And it's been about 10 years since I've seen it until just the other week when I watched it again for this, and it totally holds up. It's a great movie.
And Bill,
this is my first time seeing this. I've never seen this before. This is a brand new experience for me. I thought I had, but within the first minute, I'm like, no, I have never have. And my story with this is basically, hey, James, do you want to watch Big Trouble in Little China with me? And I'm used to her when I offer this. Her saying, no, I don't want to watch that. Like, hey, do you want to watch this? No. She looked at me with this sly smile and said, oh, yeah. Oh, yes. I'm like, really? She's like, oh, I love that movie. Are you watching it for Mike's show? I'm like, I sure am. She's like, let's watch Big Trouble in Little China. And sure enough, we did. She knew what she had seen. And another one of those for her where she had seen it dozens of times as a kid. And within the first 10 minutes, she's like, oh no, is this going to ruin my childhood joy for this? Like, you know, like almost like, oh no, this is really bad, but it's actually really good. And by the end, we'd all turned around and we were like, oh, this is so much fun. And this is so stupid, but so good. Like beautifully crafted stupid. We'll talk about it as we go through it, but I really enjoyed it. It shouldn't work, but it does, and we'll talk about it as we go forward. But this was a first time experience for me, guys. I thought it was wonderful.
I'm glad. I owe you something good after pretty sure I put you through a few crap things lately. So
there's been some junk, but this was definitely not one of those junky things.
And Ken,
much like you, this was my dad watched this movie all the damn time thing. He had the VHS. I probably remember seeing this 8 years old-ish. You know, I did see Creepshow before this, but I've probably seen this almost as many times, honestly. It's one of those movies that, you know, like you, I can't quite quote along with it, but I know the big quotes, and I have my favorite scenes, and can't stop watching this movie. Years later, still watching it.
It's just so good. I mean, it really brought me back to being a kid, just with it just being on TV, because it wasn't like we planned to watch it. It was just there. It was just, oh, they're airing it again. Well, go sit down. Like, it's just not how TV is anymore, which I'm okay with. But so I actually kept notes for this movie. And it's funny. It's just one of those movies where I'm sitting there watching, and I know like that it's probably something I could have recite to you how it goes, even before when I watched it yesterday. I could have recited this whole movie because it just is all in my head still.
Yeah.
And the main star is Kurt Russell, but at this, like, one thing I think is so interesting is he's not really the star. I mean, he is the star of this movie, but he's not the hero of the story, in my opinion. He doesn't really do anything. He's
the anti-hero. Like, he is an archetypical anti-hero that, yeah, he's kind of this bumbling. He survives on confidence, and boy, oodles of it, and boy, is that fun to watch.
He's a sidekick who thinks he's a hero.
I love that. Yeah, basically.
I'm sure they say that in the commentary, right?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, that's funny.
Like,
okay, because I remember the kid thinking to myself that he's the hero, and it wasn't until later on when I watched this movie as an adult, I was like, wait a second, he's not, he doesn't do anything.
Becoming an adult is realizing that Wang Chi is the true hero of this story.
I mean, he is. He's the one that saves the day. He's the one that has all the action scenes. I mean, Jack is there, but every single scene he's in that involves fighting, he somehow fucks it up.
Except for one.
Yeah, he has his moment. He gets a moment, but what I love about that character, he's full throttle with no skills, but nothing to back it up. Like, he is constantly moving forward. Blindly and dumbly, but constantly moving forward. Everyone's sitting around. What are we going to do? There goes Jack walking up a ladder. Here goes Jack walking this way. He just goes. And I find that so fun and interesting. Just a really fun protagonist to be around.
And it's one of those situations where he's in this situation because of accident, essentially, like just happenstance. Yeah. Like, had things gone a little bit differently in the beginning of this movie, he wouldn't have been at the airport when everything started.
Like if he lost the bet.
Yeah. If Wang didn't try to say, oh, double or nothing, and tries to break a bottle and fails, nothing, he wouldn't have been there. He would have just went home or went wherever the hell he was headed.
Yeah. But no, sometimes the biggest accidents are the best adventures.
Because the whole, like, the beginning of this movie is that they're in what, Chinatown in San Francisco?
Yes.
And that's a nice setup. Like, he's just a truck driver. He just happens to be here for whatever reason. We don't know exactly, other than we assume he had a load to drop off. He's gambling, and then his friend loses a bet, so he drives him to the airport. Why they take a freaking semi-truck to the airport? I don't know, but it is 86, so you can do things that you wouldn't be doing in 2024.
Oh, well, I guess what else are they going to take? I mean, I guess Wang would have had his own vehicle, I suppose, but
he tried to get in it, and
that's right.
Like Jack was like I'm driving, you come with me.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, Kurt Russell learned to drive that truck for this movie.
Really?
Oh,
Yes.
Mhm.
And I guess
Oh,
there's
that's cool.
pretty tight spaces they had to squeeze it in. So
Yeah, those alleys are not easy. Wow, that's pretty impressive.
that's cool. And
Cool.
a lot of it's always impressive what actors will learn to do for a role. I always find that interesting.
Just makes it better.
I couldn't get over when they go to the airport because I'm used to, we're in our current age. I'm not used to 86 would have been the airport where a fucker has knives and guns. They just bring him to the airport like no big deal.
I was amazed they were able to meet her at the gate. I'm like, oh, I remember those days when you could actually meet somebody at their gate before they get through customs and before they get through. Well, they were going through customs, but yeah, you can just meet them at the gate. That's amazing.
Never forget what they took from you.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
You sit in
it was just, all I can think is like, and then just run out the door to where the parking lot is. I'm like, this is the 80s because that's not how airports are set up now. Like, where's the TSA?
Just come on in.
The things those old men complain about. Oh, it was just something that really, like, I just kept thinking about when I was watching this movie. Like when he does, like, you have the gang members that are there that are trying to kidnap one of the women that his friend is there to pick up, and just I couldn't get over the guy with the white glasses.
Yes,
like I just can't. So stupid.
How do you see through those things?
That dude's the best. But it was the 80s. Everybody had stupid sunglasses in the 80s.
Oh, totally. Yeah, this was the year of the era of the stupid sunglasses. But these little bits of flavor, and if you're like me and enjoy a movie that revels in its details and revels in its flavor, this is like this is like eating an entire bag of Skittles in one shot. Like this is just overloaded with fun and flavor. And I ate all this stuff up. Not to be a punny, but I ate all this stuff up. It was so good. Again, so I was just kind of soaking this all in. I'm watching it because the pacing of this movie, I'm not sure if we're going beat by beat, but I'll just state it here.
I don't know.
The pacing of this movie is madness. About 20 minutes in, I turned to my wife and I go, what am I watching? What is happening? Like, what is occurring? And she just goes, don't worry about it. Just watch it. And she was right. That's the way you got to take it. So I said, fine, I'm just going to go on this roller coaster. And the pacing is ridiculous in this. And
For an 80s movie.
For an 80s movie, yeah, because 80s movies don't pace like this, but this thing just flies along. And it's a trim hour 40. Like, this thing is in and out before you even knows you're there. And yeah, I really, again, I just sat back and said, fine, I'm just going to let this movie happen to me as opposed to like sit there and try to analyze. I'll think about it later. But I just want to let this occur. And I'm glad I took that stance because it's so much fun when you just strap into the ride and don't look at the gears and gizmos. Just strap in and go.
I also really like Kim Cattrall in this, which I don't know her in anything else. I know she's in Sex and the City, which I never watched. But
And Police Academy.
I'm sure you know.
I've actually never seen Police Academy either.
I don't remember her in Police Academy. That's funny. She's great in this, though. She looks amazing in this.
Yes, she is.
Yep. I watched a lot of Sex and the City when it was big. I had dating a lady at the time who was really into it, so I became really into it. Yeah, she's fine. I mean, I haven't seen it in 20 years, but yeah, she's fine. And she's good in this. She's. I like the fact that everybody's overacting by like a degree, but just enough. Like everyone's overdoing it just enough, which makes it again fun and full of flavor.
Oh, her role, the way she plays her character is just so over the top. It's like, I'm Gracie Law. I'm here for this. Like, it's just so stupid, but it works in this movie.
It worked. I was say I really like it though.
Me too.
It's a great throwback to like 30s, 40s acting when everybody just was kind of like very matter of fact. And, you know, like the old gangster movies, like, oh, what are you doing here? See? And like, she has that very like quick staccato rhythm that people like James Cagney and Edward G. Robinson used to have in those old Howard Hawks movies.
Yeah. And it also has a very it feels like that's a very good way of putting it, where it feels like one of these older movies where it's almost from the stage, you know, in that era where actors were moving from the stage to the screen and they were still projecting and going over the top.
Yeah.
They didn't have to. So you still have a bit of that in there. Yeah, it's a good analogy.
I didn't think about that, but that makes perfect sense because everything is over the top. Like the way his friend acts, the Wang, I don't know the name of that actor.
Dennis Dunn?
Yeah, Dennis Dunn.
I don't think I've never seen him in anything else that I'm aware of.
I only know him from the Prince of Darkness. Besides this, but I'm sure he's done a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, he didn't do much after. I mean, this was one of his first movies, and he was in Year of the Dragon. and then this was Big Trouble in Little China, and then Prince of Darkness 1 year later. Nothing else I've seen, so
Apparently, he was in Warriors of Virtue.
Yes, he was.
Which is that's the kangaroo movie, right?
I do not know.
Martial arts fantasy film, it says.
Yep, that's the fighting kangaroo movie.
Okay, I never heard of it. I mean, apparently he was in the Bernie Mac show once for an episode, so I probably saw that, unfortunately, then. And he's an episode of Charm. I would have seen that, too. Okay.
Well,
he's just an actor I know from this movie. That's really all it is.
He's most known for this one.
But no, he does a good job, too. I mean, he seems more sane than a lot of the other people in this movie. Like, he seems like he does a good job of showing the terror and desperation that his girlfriend just got kidnapped, or his fiance, who came from China to marry him and then gets kidnapped by a gang.
Yeah, the best gang, really. I mean, Lords of Death, that's a great name.
It's pretty fantastic.
And early on in this movie, you're introduced to Egg Shen. That's a famous actor that I don't know his name either, but I know him well. Like, I've seen him a lot of stuff.
Good old Victor Wong, yeah.
Also from Prince of Darkness.
Yep.
Three Ninjas.
Yep.
A lot of stuff, really.
I know I've seen him in things before.
Yeah, he's been in a bunch of stuff. He's interesting actor. Although I got to say, my star of the show is the great, and I do say this without hesitation, the great James Hong.
Yes.
Who is so
James
good.
Hong.
The great James Hong, who has done so much work. He's one of the most prolific actors on the planet. Just for you, Mike Albertin, and your listening audience, of course. I did a little math. I busted out the Excel sheet. He has credits in 149 movies, 275 TV shows, and 21 video games.
Damn.
And he is still working today. He still has stuff that's in post-production as we speak.
How old is he? He's got to be late 70s, early 80s, right?
He is in...
Gotta be 90s, I'm assuming.
I'm not going to do that kind of math. He was born in 1954. So 95. 95!
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, sorry, 95. Sorry, he was born in 1929. He's 95 years old, and he is still doing work today.
Yeah,
that is
he was
who I want to
in
be when I grow up.
Everything or Nothing. Is that what it was, or everything? No, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
He's in that.
The dad in that. He was Mr.
He's in Big
Ping.
Bang Theory.
I was going to say he's Mr. Ping in the Kung Fu Panda movies, which is a big role, and I've seen all those movies because I have small children.
All
the fourth
time,
one.
Always got to bring up damn Big Bang Theory.
Sorry.
I will. I'm also watching Young Sheldon right now. Not now, but I mean, that's my show right now.
Mike Albertin, may I ask you a slight divergent question? Slight.
Sure.
Ever so slightly. I've seen clips of Young Sheldon online because I'm on YouTube, and that's what YouTube does, because YouTube says, oh, you're 40, you must like this. Why does anyone watch that show?
I find it humorous and cute.
Okay.
So,
I don't get it. I don't understand why anyone watch that show so clearly.
And after the movie I watched last night for tomorrow's episode, I need to watch a few episodes of that before I went to bed. I needed something uplifting. So
That's fair. That's fine. But Kung Fu Panda, Kung Fu Panda, he's in that movie, and yeah, he's in a bunch of stuff.
I love him in Diablo 3 as Covetous Shen, the jeweler.
Yes.
Love him.
I was gonna say, like, I actually noticed something for the first time in this movie when they do drive into the alley when they're following the Lords of Death. I had never noticed that he was standing there before the funeral. Never caught that before.
Oh yes.
A very young. I mean, it's just so funny because he's so much younger. I'm used to him in his 80s and 90s, and seeing him in this is like, oh man, he's still old, but a lot younger.
Yep, just looking like some dude.
Yep. And also, just to close the loop on one thing, James Hong was also in Prey, which is a game we talked about a couple months ago. He played William Yu in Prey. He is always working, and he's never stopped, and God bless him for that, because he's who I want to be when I grow up. I still keep doing cool stuff. Like until I am no longer capable. Hopefully cool stuff, I should say. Crazy.
Can't believe someone's working that far, but I mean, like, it's by choice, not by force. So
why not? Let him cook. It's awesome. Very big fan.
I don't think it was really until this watching when they get to the part with the funeral procession, like, I was really like, this is kind of fucked up. Like, they're just having a funeral, all of a sudden these random guys just show up with guns and everyone just starts shooting each other, but nobody touches the truck somehow.
That's true.
They're shooting, machine guns and everything, and the truck's just fine. Like, nope, perfect game. Nobody hit
Truck's
the truck.
not involved. It's not the truck. The truck's not a gang member.
Yeah.
But they're using the truck for cover, which I find hilarious that they're just hiding behind the truck, and not once you see a bullet hit the window or anything with the truck.
Well, aren't the oh, you're right, because then the other clan comes up with guns and they have a gun battle. Because at first they all have sticks and knives and they show up with Uzis and just spray and pray the joint. But then you're right, the other group comes up with they're also more traditional weapons though. I think the choreography in this movie is quite good. For someone who's not known for directing martial arts movies, I think this is fun and good. Who did the choreography for?
I don't know.
That's a good question.
I have no idea. I was hoping one of you had the answer.
Me too. I mean, yeah, I'm like.
No, the choreography is
whoever did the choreography and the fight stuff did a really nice job.
Frank Ho, Conan Lee, and James Liu. I guess it was. I don't know. Just guessing here. It looks like it was primarily James Liu. I don't know. I was misreading. Okay, so it was a different sentence. Yeah, James Liu is the martial arts choreographer. He also appears as one of the Chang Sing warriors.
Ah, nice.
The Chang Sings were the good ones.
I don't know. Were they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were the ones wearing yellow. The Wing Kong were the ones wearing red, and they were bastard people.
Well, also, I think the way to show that they're evil is when you also see them, they have one of the main guys has a meat cleaver. Nothing screams villain like a meat cleaver.
This is true.
That's what Kid Mike always thought when he saw this movie. So.
Well, I mean, it's not wrong. But the important thing is not only does he have a meat cleaver, that's Al Lung, like Endo from Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, that guy's great.
Like, he is one of the 80s most notable badasses. He also played Genghis Khan in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Like,
indeed.
When you know it's him and he's got a cleaver, then, oh boy.
And Ken, I know we're about 20 minutes into the episode, but I forgot to ask you a certain question that I'm sure you already wrote something down for.
Aha. I didn't, but I can do it right off the top of my head.
Please, what's the plot of this movie, Ken?
All right. So, All-American trucker Jack Burton is drawn into a world of intrigue when he and his friend Wang Chi have to rescue Wang's fiancée. They soon find themselves embroiled in a world of street gangs, demons, ancient Chinese black magic, and sorcery. In order to save the day, Jack has to discover the hero within and step aside to let Wang do his job.
Excellent.
Woo! There we go.
When I was a kid, I loved this alleyway fight scene. I thought it was so cool. I didn't care for the guns, but I was always fascinated with martial arts and people fighting with hand-to-hand weapons.
It's great. There's the amount of skill required to do that stuff is pretty incredible. Yeah, it's great.
And like, what do you got to do to piss somebody off so bad that you shoot up a funeral?
I mean, yeah. Or what level of evil do you have to be to not like just give them a pass for a second? All right, they're grieving. Nope. Yeah, that's what they do. And
this is our chance. They're all in one spot. Fuck them.
Hey, when I was in high school, I had a friend of mine, and we used to do the thumb thing like they do in this movie to each other, and we see each other in the hallways and stuff.
Oh, that's fun.
I promise you, at the end of this movie, when he gave that final little sign, the little sign for the good guy clan, I did it back to the TV screen. It's like, yeah. I said, yeah. And my wife looks at me. She goes, "Did you just do the sign to the TV?" I said, "Yes, I did, James. I did. I did, and I don't take it back. I don't take it back. I am here. I am in." That was great.
And I think this is probably where the stereotype comes of where red is bad.
Not good.
Where the red, it's always the bad guys have the darker colors in so much stuff. Yeah. I mean, I know it was Darth Vader, but still.
Ken, we got to take him on a Gallo trip.
Oh.
Telling you got to do it. Start wringing your hands now, Ken.
And this is when for me, this has to be the inspiration for Raiden and Fujin from Mortal Kombat when when the three storms show up.
100%.
I mean, that's what I wrote in my notes.
What's Tobias? What's his name? John Tobias. I think he's even said as much.
That's cool. I figured because they look so much. I mean, those characters from Mortal Kombat look so much like references to these. So the fact that one has lightning, one has, I'm assuming, kind of like wind powers, and he does kind of look like Fujin. Like Fujin looks like him, I should say.
The Lightning is the character here, played by James Pax. I mean, that is 100% Raiden. There's no getting
totally.
Mm-hmm. And it does there is an interview that John Tobias did that says Lightning was absolutely an inspiration with the look and behavior.
Interesting. Okay, that makes sense. There's so much DNA in that does make sense. Now, I was looking at some of the wiki of this movie afterwards, and I didn't fully read it. I kind of skimmed it. This has a lot of ties to real mysticism, like real Chinese mysticism. Like a lot of this stuff is not just made up stuff, and it feels authentic. It feels like that when you're watching it. Like, oh, this feels pulled from something, and I think a lot of this was pulled from real Chinese myth.
I was most surprised about Lo Pan.
Yeah,
like, it's like a famous Chinese legend. I mean, he was like an impersonator for Emperor Huang, where he would sit on a throne. So basically, like if he got assassinated, that was okay.
Right.
But yeah, I thought it was interesting. I mean, obviously they expanded on that here, but I think what I found most unexpected was that Lo Pan is real.
I never knew that.
I only knew that from watching it this time and like starting to dig into it a little bit more. I didn't know that till a week ago.
That's super cool. You just made this movie cooler in my eyes. Thank you. Because I didn't realize that they were actually pulling from Chinese myth and stuff when they had the whole idea of Lo Pan being cursed by the first emperor and stuff like that. That's really cool that they did pull that.
As far as what?
The legends or the Chinese.
Oh, I mean, I didn't really look too deeply in it, but I do see that the Lo Pan was a real person. It felt very lived in, and it felt like a very real thing. And I was really surprised how well that fit in this weird world, because you have this like grounded world of, San Francisco, and then you're going to these weird places. So I think it was really a smart move to have it grounded in something real, to give it, again, some sort of basis. Yeah, I didn't look too much into like all the things I found. I don't know much about ancient Chinese anything. So that's just me being dumb. But I just appreciated the effort on that.
I will point out that Lo Pan in real life, his name was not David.
Oh, dang.
But like, okay, think about it. You're alive forever. You got to change with the times.
Yeah.
True.
You moved to San Francisco. You got to get an American name.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I like how I also like how Jack Burton always calls him Dave.
It feels so disrespectful.
Yes.
It really does.
I think it's supposed to be.
Totally.
Like,
I mean, their interactions are not pleasant when they run into each other, so...
Calling him Lo Pan seems to be the most respectful thing you do, but just boiling that down to Dave and being such a fucking American about it. Inspired choices all around.
I do
What do
love
you
when he
say,
hits him with the
Dave?
truck. He's like, I hit the man with the truck. He's just so upset about it. Like, you weren't going that fast, so...
Still a truck, though, Mike.
Yeah, I know.
Come on now. I mean, he's every right to be a little concerned.
I do like how his truck gets stolen because they just abandon it. So they just steal it. Like, yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Well, I mean, you kind of got to run when somebody starts throwing light out of their eyes and mouth.
What is the name of the guy that gets big?
Thunder.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, they
Yep.
do say it once in this movie, too.
Yep, Thunder. Kill him for me. I think that's the only time you actually hear his name.
Yes.
But no, the storms are amazing. And what the fuck? Why do they look so good? Jesus.
They also have Funko Pops of those three storms, but they're old Funko Pops and they are not cheap, unfortunately. I have seen them once and I was like, it's tempting. But yeah, so they exist. There are Funko Pops of this movie, by the way. So they're just rare. I've only run into them once and I go to a lot of toy swaps.
Dang, that's that pricey. I found one for $90 on eBay. Jack Burton, 151.
Yeah. Mhm.
$90.
I just can't. I'm like, nope, no, thank you.
You get yourself a Ghost Lo Pan glow in the dark action vinyl action figure for $112.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
too much.
Zowie.
Jeez.
The most expensive Funko Pop I ever saw at a swap that I really, really thought about was like $300 for Ramona Flowers, but it was signed by the actress.
That's cool.
I was tempted, but I'm like, I would want to meet Mary Winstead, not just have something signed by her. So it doesn't work for me. But I was like, oh, damn.
Man, I found a listing for all 6 Lo Pan, Gracie Law, Jack Burton, and the Storms for $400.
Oof, man.
That's crazy.
Too much.
Not too much. No, don't have pockets like that.
I've always, one thing I don't think I noticed until this watching the movie, like after they get back, if their truck is stolen and everything and he changes clothes, I never realized he's wearing like the male version of kimono is what he has on.
Yep.
The robe. So I mean, I noticed he wore it, but I never realized that's what it was.
It's his after shower outfit because you can see his clothes are drying.
I like it. I just like how these random people just show up in the restaurant just talking about Lopan like that. I think when Gracie Law shows up again.
Yep, Gracie shows up. Uncle Chu, Eddie, like most of the rest of the cast is introduced here.
And when you say introduced, there isn't an introduction. They just appear and start talking. They just arrive and just start expositing. And this is when I turn to my wife. I'm like, what is happening? Like, these people here, these characters just showed up and now they're all talking. And what I love about the movie being, it's again very smartly made because it's John Carpenter joint, is Kurt Russell is just as confused as the audience. He is just as confused as we are. He's like, hey, can I get in on this secret society stuff you're talking about? Don't assume I know what you're talking about, or the audience. And everyone ignores him and the audience, and they just move because we got stuff to do. We got dimensions and magic and all sorts of madness. We got a lot of stuff to do and very little time to do it. But I like to find the pacing just maddening in this movie, but kind of exhilarating at the same time.
It was this watching that I realized, like, Eddie, the guy that joins him, he just works for the restaurant. He just gets tangled in this whole thing where he's almost murdered.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a hero. He's not a martial artist. He just works there.
He's just a dude.
He just came there to get some free food. Why is that before he starts the shift? Probably, like, just come to the restaurant.
And sometimes that's what a hero does. They just see something that needs to get done, and they're like, all right, let's go.
Do it. Here I am. And now it's better to do it for the next hour and a half.
And the part when he goes to the white, because they find out that the girlfriend that was captured was sold to essentially a brothel, the White Tiger. The way they dress him up and just everything with it is so fucking humorous. And I always laugh because when I was a kid, I had no idea what was going on. I did not realize what was happening. Now I do, but it was just something I thought, like, I just love this part. He's like, Henry Swanson's the name, and he got his glasses on and everything. He just looks as geeky as he possibly can.
Sure is raining cats and dogs.
My wife, speaking of things that surprised her on this watch through as opposed to when she saw it as a kid, she saw when they get to that point where they're introducing the business, she's like, oh, did not realize this was sex trafficking back when I was 10. Did not realize. That makes way more sense now.
There's a lot of sex trafficking in this movie too. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically it's almost, that's the setting almost. It didn't hit her until I think this watch through. Maybe it hadn't, but she hadn't remembered this piece of it. Because again, when you watch it when you're 12 or whatever, it's
not something
not something, nor should you hopefully have to know about that sort of thing. Yeah, it's just funny how it hit her different. She's like, not quite as fun.
But they stopped the sex trafficking.
This is true.
I still like it when he's sitting in the conference, or he's sitting in the lobby and he has a notebook he's looking through, and I never realized he's looking at the different women to pick out.
Doesn't he make like a cash? She goes, cash or check, and he's like, cash, can't write this stuff off, can you? He makes some stupid joke.
Yes, he does.
I bellowed laughing. I went, oh, that is so dumb. It's so good. I said that a lot during this movie. This is so dumb. It's so good.
It is. This movie is stupid, but it's great. And it just works. Like, everything with this is meant to be stupid, but also you have that little tinge of something more going on. Like when he makes the comment about a green-eyed lady, like Chinese women don't have green eyes. And then the woman walks off and has like a secret door where she has the other woman tied up, the green-eyed lady.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it has its moments where it's like, okay, there's something serious happening here, but, and it's just wrapped in humor. It's little stuff I appreciate. And then this, I think, is when you get introduced to, what's the reporter's name?
Margot Litzenberger.
Yes.
Yes, Margot. Why is she there?
Gracie's trying to get any attention on the White Tiger and Lopan, and nobody's listening. Gotcha. But Margot's the only one who's listening.
Yeah, okay. So that makes a little more sense now. Because throughout this movie, I'm like, why are you here? Other than just another person to go on this adventure. Okay, so she was, all right, now this makes a lot. Okay, now I'm putting more things together. Okay, yep.
Well, all right.
All right.
I also like when the wizards show up and they break in the building to steal the green-eyed lady, and they just kill the sex trafficker essentially. You just see her go flying off the room. I'm like, yeah, she's dead.
Yeah.
Did you guys?
Storms are just badass.
Yes.
Did you guys notice how comically thin the walls and ceiling were?
Oh yes.
Yes.
Totally. Things are made out of paper mache. Wow.
It's easier when you
Whoosh.
throw your stunt actor through; they don't get hurt. I mean, to be fair, it was also supposed to be a fake door, so I'll take it. But yeah. I'm assuming this movie didn't have the biggest budget either.
It wasn't huge.
19 to 25 million. I see.
Yeah.
Only made 11 million.
Yeah, it was a
Made no money. No money.
And you can blame that on Fox. If you listen to the commentary, there's a whole lot of shit talking
Yep.
about how Fox really dropped the ball on this one.
Yeah, the marketing was
Awful.
either non-existent or terrible when they did some marketing.
Didn't they also release it up against an Eddie Murphy movie that's basically the same movie? I've never seen
Yeah.
the Golden Child.
Golden Child, yeah.
Has anyone seen The Golden Child?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is way better. I do like Golden Child. This is a lot better. I think that came out in like 84. I think they were in production around the same time, and they decided to like postpone this one a bit because of that. Let me see.
Oh,
No,
okay.
this one came out in 86. The Golden Child came out in 86
They're both
too.
86. Yeah. Huh.
This one came out July 2nd, though. Golden Child came out December 12th.
Oh, so this came out first.
Yeah.
Yep.
Huh.
You always
And-
have issues like that with studios really just messing things up.
And Golden Child made a
Okay.
lot more on a similar budget.
Well, when you have the name Eddie Murphy in the mid '80s, I mean that's just ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching.
Yeah.
Most
Yeah,
famous
it's
person in the world, basically. Yeah.
It's not a better movie.
I have no interest.
A good movie. It's not a better movie.
Yeah. It's fine.
A lot of people will see a movie just because of the main actor in the movie.
Totally, and that still happens today. I mean, there's plenty of people seeing Deadpool just because Ryan Reynolds are in it. You know, that's fine.
And maybe was Kurt Russell not as big at this point?
Not really. I mean,
No.
this is very young Kurt Russell.
Like, he had done The Thing. He'd done Escape from New York. He had done the Elvis movie. But that was pretty much about it. Like, he was still untested pretty much.
Okay.
And a fact that I forgot completely until just now, James Hong also in The Golden Child.
Oh, interesting.
Good for him.
Get out of here. Keith. Good for
Yeah, because I'm looking at the movies that Kurt Russell did before, and I really don't know most of these.
Yeah.
The Computer for Tennis Shoes and Used Cars were probably his biggest hits before this.
Mm-hmm.
Not that this is a hit, or at the time anyway.
Best of Times, I know that movie. I've seen that once.
Really?
Yeah. I like Robin Williams, so yeah, that's why I watched it. I've seen Tango and Cash once.
Tango and Cash is good.
I like that. That's a funny one.
I've seen a bunch of these. I guess I did watch a lot of.
Cash was after this, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, Tango and Cash is later.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking through his list of movies because he did a lot of fucking movies. What is the movie where he breakdown? Okay, what movie is the car breakdown? Oh yeah, Breakdown. That's a fucked up movie.
Yeah.
That's a great movie.
I've seen it once when I was in the middle of, I was in Georgia, the middle of nowhere at my grandparents' house, and
Oh, that's
surrounded
a
in
wrong time to watch it.
that really is when I was in a little town where the biggest thing in town was the Walmart. So
Oh, boy.
yeah,
Backdraft was a big one for him. In the 80s.
Yes, it was. That was a big one.
yeah, he always seemed like a bigger. I mean, when the time I saw this, he was older, so he was more known.
Like, he did, Tombstone, Captain Ron, Stargate, Executive Decision.
I like Stargate.
Yeah, Stargate, I don't care for.
I like the series, but not that movie.
Like, he's done a lot of big things, but at the time, he was not Kurt Russell.
Yeah,
That's fair.
indeed.
Like, this was before his star-making turn in, The Hateful Eight and 3,000 Miles to Graceland.
Oh yes.
Which, by the way, great movie. Everybody
Never seen
watch
either.
that. Watch it.
What about Bone Tomahawk?
Oh, Bone Tomahawk, so good. It's so
a great
good.
movie, but man, goes some places you're not expecting.
Yep. I don't think you should watch that one, Mike.
Don't tell him that.
Is it a horror movie? I take it.
There are horror elements to it.
Okay. Would Wikipedia consider it a horror movie? Because that's what actually deters a lot of my watching. What does Wikipedia say? This is a horror movie? All right.
God.
We're going to skip it. Or no, actually now if I
Mike.
see Blumhouse as the production studio, I'm like, fuck no, I don't want to watch this movie.
What?
Mike. Let's listen. You've seen enough horror movies as it is. You have a giant poster of horror movies that you're going to be scratching off over the next, 30 years.
Considering we only
Slowly
done
but
2
sure.
so far.
I
yeah.
know. That's why I said 30 years. You are a horror fan. Just embrace it. It's okay.
My wife is.
No. You've seen enough now where you want us to lead you along these blood-soaked paths.
Certain ones, yes.
and you are becoming a fan. I'm telling you, it's going to happen
But I have
pretty
no
soon.
interest in watching Terrifier, so there is that.
Not really
You're not
my
missing
thing.
out much.
Episode 900, Terrifier 1 and 2. We do a twofer episode. But anyway, back to this. This
This is when they come up with their first of their bad ideas, and they go to Lopan's headquarters, essentially.
I love this. Just walk in like you owned a place. This is literally how my grandfather used to get us into places. Just walk in like you belong there.
It works.
My grandfather was the king of, hey, Billy. I was Billy when I was younger. Hey, Billy, do you want to go behind the sound booth at the Sesame Street Live? Sure, let's go. And just walk into the sound booth. Hi, sound booth people. How does this stuff work? He was the king of, up until he passed, he was the king of, I want to see something cool. I'm just going to go and see it. And as he got older, more people let him do it because he's an old man. Like, you're not going to tell the old man not to go into the kitchen at Five Guys. Hey, I've always wanted to own a burger restaurant. And he just walks into the kitchen. Hey, hi, everybody. How do you make burgers here? Like, that's literally my grandfather. I respect that hustle where it's just like, yep, we belong here. We're going to fix a thing. Don't worry, we'll be right out. It's so great. I love that.
Why are they carrying a phone?
Because they work for the phone company. See, many years ago, there was a centralized company that dealt with telecommunications, such as your phone. And a lot of time, these would require technicians to go on site to inspect the various connections if you were having problems with your telephone. And that's what they're banking on here by going in with the authority and holding a phone. Well, they obviously work for the telephone company.
Yeah, and they're wearing obvious uniforms,
Kinda.
jean jackets. Yep. I mean, I like how they think it works until they get to the elevator, and then the elevator just starts flooding at one point. They're like, yeah, they realize we don't belong here.
They figured it out real quick.
Oh,
Which, as everyone knows, my fear of water is that was just the idea of being in an enclosed space that's slowly filling with water. It's not good.
And then seeing all the bodies that are waterlogged that are down there.
It's going to add how you did with the upside down hell.
It's fine. I kind of knew my heroes were going to get out of it okay. And I've really enjoyed the mangled corpses and the rotting flesh. Of course,
Pretty
I did.
gnarly. Yeah.
Really great. I was like, ooh, these are awesome. I was just like, ooh, yay. This is lots of fun, as I do. Great.
I do like how they get out of it, though, just because they have the frickin'... He has a knife in his boot.
Yeah.
You think they would have checked him?
Nah, they figured just drown him. I mean, what's supposed to happen?
Even in the 80s, not a lot of people had concealed weaponry like a boot knife or baby knife, if you will. And it's just one of those things you're not going to look for.
Yeah.
Besides, it just spent like how long beating the living shit out of him?
Yeah.
Torturing him?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do beat the crap out of him for a bit, and then they tie him up until they tie him into wheelchairs.
I love that scene. He like rolls down the ramp and almost falls into that well.
It's so well done.
The amount of physical exertion it looks like to hoist himself out of that like precipice, like to pull himself back up onto the ledge in that wheelchair made my arms hurt. It's like, oof, that is such a Kurt Russell thing to do. Good on you, Kurt Russell.
Well, I was thinking the same thing when they're underwater. Whenever people are underwater, I start counting.
There's a little Sonic music go in your head. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh my
Because in real life, when I'm underwater, I'm like, time to go up.
Sorry, did I conjure some demons there? I'm sorry.
That was an alarm on my phone for the longest time.
No, it can't be. That can't be.
It worked.
Yeah, it's also called instant anxiety. Are you kidding me? Wake up to these soothing sounds of dun 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 dun. Ugh. Oh, wow.
Yeah, my alarm is Time Scar from Chrono Cross, which I just love that song. That's always been my alarm for like 6-7 years.
Fair enough.
I want to wake up to a song I want to hear.
I want to wake up, and I want to wake up fast. That's why.
Okay.
I'm the exact opposite. I want to wake up as slowly as humanly possible. Give myself as little time as possible to get ready.
I know how that goes right now. Hey, we both work from home, so we can do it.
That's true. Yep.
I gotta take my wife to work in the morning, otherwise I could do it better. Oh, fun fact: the chair that they're wheeling one of the guy, not Jack Burton, but the other character in. When I was a kid, we had a rocking chair of that same back, like of that chair. So I think that also made me amuse me when I was a child. Like, oh, we have that same type of chair.
Nice. Very cool.
That's fantastic.
And when they meet Lopan, his old man Lopan, all I could think of, which again I know it has to be a reference, is Shang Tsung. He just looks so much like Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat 1.
Oh yeah, he does.
Sure does.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even like the outfit, like it's a blue. He has like a I think like a blue. I guess it's a black shirt, but it just looks just the way the hair is, everything. It looks a lot like the original Shang Tsung design.
Yeah, and that's another one I'm pretty sure I read at one point that it was influenced by Mortal Kombat.
Oh, 100%. They had to be. I'm okay with that. I mean, how many movies were there out there like this?
Not a lot. I'm pretty sure this was the first of its kind. And honestly, probably still, there's really nothing else like it.
Not really. Not this combination of this mysticism rounded in the real world. Not really. What's that?
The Golden Child from later.
The Golden Child.
I need to watch that maybe someday.
I don't know if it holds up. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I did watch it a lot as a kid and liked it.
It's fine. I feel like this one is more over the top magical.
I've just always seen the cover of the Golden Child and it looked stupid, so I never watched it.
It's mostly good because Eddie Murphy is funny in it.
Yeah, that's why I've never seen it, because Eddie Murphy.
And see, this movie's good because of everybody.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. No, very well said. Yep.
Like if Eddie Murphy is the good, well, I'm sure James Holland is great in it too.
Who's a Tywin Lannister? Who's that guy?
Charles Dance?
Yeah. Isn't he in The Golden Child?
Oh, gosh.
He's like the main bad guy, I think.
So what you're telling me is at some point I got to get the four of us back together to watch that movie.
I would watch it again.
Why not? Add another 80s movie I've never seen on my list.
It is Charles Dance was in it. Yes. He was the bad guy.
I do like that since they don't come back in time, the other group comes in. So you have Gracie Law, the reporter, and Eddie, who just show up. And I like how they're like, oh, they're letting us in. They just take them to an elevator, then they're just immediately gassed.
Yeah, I love the fact that Thunder's like just being helpful, looking all suave in a suit.
He's like, I'll give you a tour. Come with me.
And Eddie's translating, and then the gas starts filling the elevator.
But she does a good job. Kim Cattrall does. This is the way she overacts it too. Like she does everything as Gracie Law, and she just overacts passing out. It's just well done.
Yeah, I like that she's not really like damsel. She gets caught up, but she gives as good as she gets.
Yeah, she's very capable. She's very capable. She's not just along for the ride. Yeah, I did appreciate that.
And when they go and rescue them, because after as we talked a little bit, they go to a cell and they break out with the wheelchair. That's a good scene. But when they do finally find them, and they had taken, because I think they find them by accident, don't they? Or no, they find Eddie first because Eddie is put in the cell with them, and then Eddie tells them that the girls are with them too, and then they go rescue the girls. And that's where they're where you find more about the fact that they're all sex trafficking because these women are all like little cages, like little rooms. Except for Gracie Law, who's hogtied. Yep.
And there's a deleted scene that explains why. Because Gracie Law talks a lot of shit. And the guards are like, no, we're done with you. You're getting hogtied.
Oh, I should have checked the deleted scenes. That's funny. I just like that. I also love how the way he walks up is Wang has Eddie and he puts a shotgun to his head. He's like, I'm going to shoot him. I'm going to shoot him. Like, if I don't know who the fuck this is, what do they care for? Like, that's what I always thought about.
Good distract.
Yeah, but, I mean, is it racist to be like, oh, that guy's Asian, he must work here?
But also, you're committing crimes. You're committing crimes. I just feel like you'd be a little bit more suspect of anybody that comes in that you don't recognize. That's how I
don't think those guards need to worry about anything because they do a good job kicking everybody's ass for a while.
Yeah, they beat up Eddie. It's only because Wang is able to take out both of the female guards that they make it through.
Yep, our hero, Wang Chi.
I like how they have sleeping gas in their poles too. Like you can kind of see they're trying to gas them to pass them out. Just little touches. And you have a small scene where after they meet with the old man, or if they meet with old Lo Pan, where he goes and sees that the girl from earlier is kidnapped with the green eyes is floating. Just little touches. I like. And this is the first of where Jack Burton's supposed to fight, but he throws the gun and the knife, and Wang kicks the crap out of everybody before he gets back.
So good.
The way they do it is just great. And he carries around that submachine gun, but he really doesn't do anything with it.
He takes
really doesn't shoot anybody.
He destroys that ceiling.
One of my favorite little beats of that movie. My favorite little beats. I love that so much.
But also, I feel like he really couldn't do a whole lot against the people that they're fighting because he's not a martial artist.
Well, I mean, if you're proficient with a gun, gun beats sword.
Good point.
I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you can't really deflect bullets with swords.
Not in this movie.
Not with that attitude.
You need the attitude and gumption of Jack Burton, sir. You need to have some get up and go.
I'm apparently not American enough. Which is fun.
I still love when he climbs on the cage and the reporter's like, "What are you gonna do?" And he's like, "I don't know." he has no plan. It's just so well done. I don't know. I've always just been so amused by this stuff.
Another one of my favorite lines Jack has is when everybody's together again. He's like, "All right, follow the leader on 3. 1, 2, 3." And he opens the door, and the bad guys are on the other side. He immediately closes it, turns around, and it's like, "We may be trapped."
So good. And the timing is so good because you know what's going to happen as a film goer. You're like, oh, there's no way this door is going to open. And of course, there's the stack of bad guys. And you're like, I know, just that beat where I think we're trapped. So again, timing is perfect in this.
And I couldn't get over like how they just happens to be a pool of water they jump into for the sewer. I don't know. I just like that. I'm like, and I guess my brain's like, you really want to swim underwater where you don't know where it leads to? Because what if you drown?
What if you die? What if you get shot by a gun? What if you get hacked up?
I mean, I guess in that case, it's like, what are your choices? Either get shot and sold off in slavery and tortured and beaten, or just swim and drown.
Yeah. It's like Chicken Run, man. You got to make the chance. Who cares if it's just some pee-pee water?
You know, I'm more okay with the pee-pee water as long as the pee-pee water has like where I can get air eventually. I'm okay. I can survive that.
And they all got air. Everybody was fine.
And I was watching this too, like when Gracie Law jumps in, like it looks like she tries to dive and then like belly flops. And I feel like that was just what she did when, Kim Cattrall jumped. They're like, shoot it, we're going with it. Like we're not reshooting this.
Doing that second take on that.
That's how it felt.
57 takes, and that was the best one.
I do like it when they're in the water and she stops, she starts pulling everybody up. Where's this person? I don't know. Where's this person? It's such a good little scene. And correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't Mario Brothers have a scene too where they rescue women and they're escaping with them?
Yeah.
Okay. My brain has always put these two moments together for some reason. Thought it was a normal thing in movies and life, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
I got nothing.
It's interesting.
But Bill, I have to ask you a very important question.
I knew this was coming. I knew this was happening. Fire away.
When Gracie pulls out Jack Burton, he kisses her. What's the kiss earned?
No, but who cares? Jack Burton doesn't need to earn anything. He just does, and things happen. And her reaction to it is actually great because kind of like, doesn't she have like an off-put reaction to it? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Well, at first, at first she's a little bit like surprised. Then she's like, "Hey,
that wasn't half bad, actually." Yeah, no, it's fine. I don't know. I couldn't rate it on a scale. I actually did think about this as I saw. I was like, oh, he's going to ask me if this was earned.
You know, I'm sure Jamie knew too at this point.
What about later when she kisses him in the elevator?
That's probably, they've been through some stuff at that point. I think they're allowed a, which of course leads to a very funny visual gag of him having lipstick and face makeup on.
A good 10 minutes.
Yeah, for a good while trying to act tough. That was very funny.
That was something that they decided on the day of shooting to just leave it on his face because like how else would it have got, how else would it have come off, right? Obviously she rubs it off of him later, but in the heat of the moment, they're just like, oh, it makes more sense if he just has this stuff smeared on his face and it's funny.
Yes.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
I was also thinking like how they escape in the sewers, but they're actually still in the building. They're just in a different section.
It's a big building.
Yeah. But like sewers don't work that way. But maybe San Francisco for you, I guess. That's what my brain went through. Like, that's not how sewers work.
Oh, what? You know so much about sewers?
I've been in storm sewers. Does that count? I literally have a few times.
I don't know. That's more sewer experience than I have.
Don't do what I did. I actually climbed through a bunch of storm sewers when I was a kid in Milwaukee for some dumb reason.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we went through a couple of them and followed them all the way through. So, yeah, it was kind of fun. You have to bring flashlights. You can't see shit. And that's also where I got really sick once. I ran my head into a pipe and then got really sick the next day. I had to call into school. And my friend, it was the same day Resident Evil 4 came out. So my sick ass went to GameStop, picked up my copy, and went back home. And stayed home play RE4 that day.
Wow.
I think it's a bad sign when you throw up from getting hit in the head.
Well, I think it was a combination of I got hit in the head and I was also in a pipe.
You get some of that water in your mouth.
I'm sure it wasn't good or on my head. I know that for sure. So, Yeah, I went through a bunch of storm sewers and kind of follow where they would lead.
Huh.
Yeah, don't do that.
Things you learn.
Yeah.
Things you learn.
There's one by the lakefront since you're asking this, in Milwaukee by Lake Michigan. There was a one that on God, I can't remember what beach that was. It was near Whitnell Park. There was somebody gets this reference. There was a giant like waterfall hearing pipe, and we followed the whole pipe all the way down to like the where it would go, and there was just like a waterfall of water coming down. So it was cool. But yeah, I've been to a bunch of them. Don't recommend it. I've even crawled through one before too. It was that small where we were crawling through it. We were there for like an hour in pipes.
No
Yeah.
thanks.
I don't know why I look back and I'm like, why the fuck was I doing this? I look at my dad like, why the fuck are you letting me do this? Like,
You couldn't pay me enough to spend 5 minutes in a pipe that I had to crawl. If I have to crawl, that is way too tight. And there's no
I
chance.
can't remember what it was that where we were, but I remember it got tight and then we turned around, but we went pretty far. And I'm not sure why the fuck we were in these pipes. But yeah, I've been in a few pipes. There's your fun fact that nobody asked for.
All right. Mike Albertin, local sewer expert.
Yeah, right. Next up on Games My Mom Found, Sewer Shark, the classics Sega CD title.
It's just Mike going, that's not how sewers work.
Yeah, it's Mike's got two areas of intense specialty: sewers and FedEx. Those are like his two. Like he can just go on and on about for hours.
FedEx more than sewers, yes.
I'm sure.
It still comes up whenever people ship stuff. I make comments and people look at me like, "Why?" Like,
I
did this for 5 years.
So where are we out?
This is when they run out of they run out of the building, get into the bus that somehow is bulletproof because they shoot the bus and somehow they're not all dead.
I know. I love that. That's like no one's aiming. They're just They're just going back and forth with their guns.
But also, like, how are they going to get away with just committing murder? Like, what you do? Well, they ran out of the building, so we just shot up the bus that all these women just ran into. Like, the cops are going to be like, oh, okay.
Well, they say a number of times the cops have better things to do than be killed. So it sounds like the cops are very much so hands off in this in Chinatown.
Yeah, that's probably fair. And this is when Gracie then gets also grabbed by the monster.
That was the third or fourth time I exclaimed, "What am I watching? What am I watching? What am I watching?" I did not expect Monster Hand, and that at that moment, I mean, I was in before that. Now I was like, let it ride. Here we go. This roller coaster is fun. Like, I've been having fun up until this point, but that was another level of fun for me. It was like, oh, we're gonna have monsters now too. This is so good. I did not know it was coming.
Didn't expect it. And the only reason they even kidnap her is because she has green eyes. So he figured he'll have two wives with green eyes.
Oh, yeah, one to sacrifice and one to have his way with. You know, perfect. Yeah. Yes,
pretty much. And this is when Egg finally shows up too, because with the bus, and then he's at the restaurant. This is when you get like kind of a lot of plot dump the movie, where he kind of explains that supernatural stuff and Lopan isn't live forever and blah blah blah.
And mind you, we're at the point of the movie. Again, forgive me as I talk about this like someone who's seen it for the first time, because I legitimately saw it for the first time last night. So I am still excited about this as a newcomer to this. The fact that they're doing all this exposition. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Exposition. All this data dump, and an hour into the movie, we got like a half an hour to go. We're like soundly at the end of the second act. And the fact they're doing this now shows you how much the movie cares about the action and the fun and the kineticism as opposed to the story. The story and the lore is all very secondary. Important, but we'll get there. Don't worry. It's fine. Just have fun with the monsters and just have fun with this. Don't clutter yourself with it. And I think that's a very smart idea. I think a lesser director would have front loaded a lot of the lore, which wouldn't have gotten you on this roller coaster ride to begin with. Because once you get the data dump, for me, I'm already in. I'm like, I'm sucking all of it in. I'm like, yes, I want to know more about this. I just want the next scene to happen. I think it's a really smart way of doing that.
Agreed. And as a kid, I was definitely fascinated with it and everything. I really liked it. I remember thinking it was just so cool and wanting to know more. Like, I was always upset that there wasn't a sequel to this movie. I mean, I know why now. But, like, I was upset. And Ken, did you appreciate the Dirty Harry reference when he pulls out the gun?
Mm-hmm. Oh, of course.
Yep.
Why wouldn't I? It could feel like dirty hair.
Yeah, but before
Egg fully admitting, yeah, you can have this gun, but it doesn't mean shit.
I mean, 6 shots I don't think would be very good in their situation with how many people you're fighting anyway.
No.
So you shoot 6 of them, that's fine. There's 30 more where that came from, so.
When you're fighting people that can call down the power of the storms, Magdam ain't gonna do shit. Sorry. It's just going to make him upset.
I do like how
Indeed.
both the green-eyed women end up in like the trances. The show kind of like the magic that he has over them.
Yeah,
Except
really effective.
the Chinese woman is much more controlled than Gracie is, because Gracie, at one point after she's changed into her wedding outfit, like she knocks out of it and then gets zapped back into it. Little touches like that. This is show that she can, trying to hold her own in this terrible situation. A part that always amused me when they go in the tunnels, like they want to go back to Lopan's place, but they're like, this time we're not going to walk to the front door, and they end up going through these tunnels. There's a part when they're in there, and I've always thought was this odd, is that like a monster comes out for one scene to eat a guy, and they just like, oh, okay, we lost John. Bye, John. Bye.
That's around the same time when Jack asks Egg, and he's like, what is that? And Egg's like, black blood of the earth. He's like, you mean oil? No, I mean black blood of the earth. That's the line that stuck with me.
That whole scene is just, there's the black blood of the earth line. Then there's, Egg screaming like, hey, you will come out no more.
Yeah.
And Jack's like, what, huh? What'll come out no more? Like, I really do kind of think that Jack Burton's kind of like the audience surrogate here, because
Oh God, yes.
he is so confused until he gets the story from Egg, like gets the backstory. So we're all with him. We're confused. He's confused. And the second he knows what's going on, we do too. Now we're in on the story.
It's one of those scenes that's always stuck with me, how this random guy just gets eaten and they just move on. But again, it makes sense. I mean, he's just part of your, you lost a guy, you still got a mission to do, but it's always stuck with me that it was just kind of funny.
Yeah, like a dozen more. It'll be fine.
Yeah, they have a nice complement of people there. They're not concerned about that person.
But it's just like they went through the trouble to have this prop just for one scene for like 1 second, just to have this giant bug thing come out, grab a guy, and go away.
Hell yeah. And you don't get that kind of stuff in movies anymore.
No,
Nope.
you don't.
Nope. I love it. And what a wonderful prop that is too. What a great creature design that you see for, like you said, for literally 2 seconds in a flash. But somebody went through some effort and made it good. It's great. I love that attention to detail. Again, all this flavor is just delightful.
I think it's also like, for something that's always impressed me, and I think that I was introduced to this before Dungeons and Dragons. Like the first time I saw a beholder-looking creature was this movie, when you see which is not a beholder, but the floating ball with a bunch of eyes that Lopan can then see that they're there. Like for me, that was my first experience ever seeing one of those type of ideas. Always stuck with me after all these years.
Is there one? Isn't there one in Labyrinth as well?
Not in Labyrinth, no.
Huh.
I can tell you that for sure. I have seen Labyrinth more times than I care to.
Oh, is that possible? I love that movie.
So does my wife.
Oh,
I have seen it in theaters 3 times at this point. I have seen a shadow cast of it at this point. Very good, by the way. But I know that movie inside and out. So yeah, there's no beholder.
I've seen it in a while. Right.
Good movie. I can tell you a lot of the lines from that movie too, by the way. That one I know. Hello. I said hello. Have a cup of tea with the missus. The movie a few times. I also make quotes to my wife all the time. Like I forget, a couple days ago, I was like, it's only forever, not that long at all. She's like, what movie is that from? I'm like, really? And then it clicked. So, yeah. All right. But it's like the same thing with Behold, like the whole idea that Lopan is having this wedding, so he just doesn't even give a shit that his enemy is infiltrating his base and heading to where they're at. Like he doesn't even care. He's like, oh well, whatever.
No, at this point, he's too far.
But it's also interesting that he's just like forging ahead with this plan to become mortal when people are coming there to kill him.
Yeah, that's a very good. Yeah. Sorry to step on that, but you're right. That's a very good point. It was kind of weird. Like, yeah, you're actually in a pretty good position right here with all his immortality. Like, do you really want flesh and blood? Like, really?
Like,
I don't know. It sounds like a downgrade.
A little bit, right?
Right. But if you're that full of yourself, like you feel like you already won and you've been cursed for 2,000 years or whatever it is, that you've had this fleshless body, or maybe you just really want sex and you're like, fuck it, I don't care.
Probably. Yeah,
Men do dumb things for women for sex. I can say that. I can speak from experience. Like I've done some dumb shit. So hey, I'll take it.
That's a fair point.
But I think the real point is supposed to be just that he's so full of himself that he feels like he succeeded. So he's not even thinking that they will be an issue.
Yeah, they're not a concern. Like, well, let me get this wedding over with. Let's get the wedding over with. Let's get my flesh back. and then we'll deal with the rabble. That's fine.
I mean,
Although
he does have an army, and you're being faced by like what, less than 10 guys?
They do. One really cool beat I noticed was when they mentioned the sorcerers there, they all kind of look at each other like, ooh, oh no. Like they have this moment of, uh-oh, that's a problem we didn't expect. Like if it was just, Kurt Russell with his perfectly coiffed hair at all times. And let me tell you, that man's hair always stays perfect, no matter what the situation.
Even after being in the sewer.
Even after being underwater in the sewer, he just comes out looking just fantastic. But they have a moment of like, uh-oh, like the sorcerer's here. Didn't see that coming.
And
very cool.
This is when you get the hint that maybe something's up with Egg Shen too. Because it seems like he and Lopan have been doing battle for like a minute.
Yeah. Feels like he's not mortal, Egg Shen either. Like he's also some kind of being that is out of time.
He's definitely really old.
Yeah.
Sure is. Boy, oh boy, is he.
But he's so good.
I really like that actor too. And again, because of this movie. Right. A small part that amused me, but I couldn't remember when it was exactly. When they get to his base, before they go down to where he's at for his wedding, they end up they go to the bar and have a drink. That always amused me how he actually went and get all the little martini glasses for them too.
Oh yeah, because Egg brought his potion that they need.
I love that potion so much. What's in the potion? Does he ever explain what's in the potion? I don't think he does. He says something. I don't think he ever really explains what's in it. Like, all right, well, we're doing this now. And that scene in the elevator, I think that might be one of my favorites. After they've all had the potion, he's like, yeah, I feel good. Yeah. I feel like invincible. Yeah. And they're all kind of just like giving these little bro taps, like, yeah.
Good too, man. Yeah.
Feel too good. I don't know why. That really struck me as very funny and just really good. But I don't think it factors in to the movie, really, unless that potion made Wang do all the kung fu stuff, but he was already very adept at it before.
Yes, but he's like flying at this point.
Yeah, he's flying. He's doing this really cool stuff. Evidently, during this scene of this final battle, John Carpenter had a lot of fun just pulling every trick out of the book to make these things happen. All sorts of, and John Carpenter is known for working quickly. Like he's known for not dilly-dallying on his sets. So I could just see him like a kid in a candy store, just like turning the camera this way, jump through this thing, do that thing. Like I could just see him having a blast shooting this scene of utter mayhem. It's great.
I love all the stuff with the wedding. And I also like how Egg Shen is like, wait, let him finish the ceremony so he's mortal and we'll kill him. And I know there's another movie that I watched where they did that. They let the guy become mortal, and I don't think it was just Harry Potter, and then they kill him. I can't remember. I know Harry Potter, they do it with Voldemort. They let him become mortal, essentially, and then kill him. But there was something else.
It's a pretty well-established trope.
Yeah, I just can't remember what I'm thinking that I was watching that they did that in recently. That's relevant. It's something I've been thinking about. Like I now think about it since I saw this movie a couple days ago, and I could not remember what movie it was. Oh well. This is. I always we kind of talked about it a little bit too, but this is when he shoots himself. He shoots the rock and then Jack Burton is knocked out for a part of the movie or part of the fight.
Oh, for most of the fight.
And then when he finally gets back into the fight, he does kill one of the guards, and then the armor is too heavy, so he can't move.
Oh yeah,
that's so good. This is why you never skip leg day, y'all. Because you never know when a guard in Japanese ceremonial armor is going to fall on you, and you got to get them up.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if your quads are not up to the challenge, you may be stuck there for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
I do love the outfits for the wedding for the two women that they're wearing. I think it's just so beautiful looking, the kimonos they have on. I really like that.
Yeah,
I always liked that as a kid too. I just thought it was cool. Now I think it's just sexy and beautiful, but as a kid I thought it was cool.
It's a good look.
And then you also have the scene that's always stuck with me too when Egg and Lopan do a little like video game thing where they the colors fight each other. Then you see Lopan actually do like with his thumb like he's playing a video game. I love that little scene.
It's a good scene.
It is.
I think it's a good visualization of the battle of wills fighting each other.
Yeah.
It's not really something you really see play out a lot, but just that, hey, let's make a bunch of dudes fight, and this is our willpower going against each other. And
good point. And you have a lot of good fights in this scene with all this. This is when you have Wang fighting the guy that I just called Fujin, the wind guy. Lightning, I think. Is it lightning or
It's Rain.
Rain? Okay.
Yep.
I thought Rain was the purple ninja. Huh. Sorry. I just called him Fujin because that's who he reminded me of from Mortal Kombat. Fujin was the wind god.
Fair.
From Mortal Kombat 4 and on. But no, I mean because this is what I think the potion did affect him, because Wang is like flying through the sky fighting him with swords, where Wang couldn't really do that before.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think the potion did affect people. Like, I'm pretty sure everybody got some benefits, even Jack.
Yeah, I mean the giant stone should have probably killed him. Just gave him a little clunk on the head. Well, maybe.
I think some other stuff that in here that I want to mention. And then eventually Lopan runs away. Like they rescue Gracie, but I forget the other woman's name.
Mao Yin.
Mao Ying. I kept forgetting it when I was writing down the notes, when I just wrote down girlfriend all the time. I couldn't remember her name. But when he takes her and he's about to kill her because he's married, so now he's got to sacrifice one of them, and he already lost Gracie. And that whole part, like with Jack and the knife, I do like that so good, where he throws a knife and he misses.
It's perfect. And the look on his face, just like, oh, God damn it. And I do like that you see Lopan flesh tone. Like,
Yes.
That's how you know it's worked.
It's such a good trope too that they go through the whole process of waiting for him to become mortal, and this is not the best time to become mortal. But that scene when Lopan throws a knife at him and Jack Burton catches it and just throws it right back into his head is so well done.
Oh, that's
Reflex.
100% potion.
Which one of you guys said that Jack Burton didn't do anything in this movie?
Me. Okay, he does one thing in this movie.
Yeah, it's a pretty big one too. That's a big
Yeah,
It's like the thing that needed to happen.
Yeah.
fair. All right, I take it back. He does one thing. But he still feels like a sidekick in this movie, like they said, you guys were saying in the director's commentary. He really does feel like the sidekick. I think that's what's one thing I always found impressive about this movie, that it really is Wang that is the hero. I don't know, just something because I'd already seen this movie like 5-6 times by the time that dawned on me. I mean, it also doesn't help that when you're watching this movie on TV, you catch it here and there because you just walk in and it happens to be on. So there's
Fair.
that too. I'm sure there was a lot of that with my dad, because he was the kind of person that would just start watching anything and just he'd be in the middle of it and just keep going. He didn't care. Still does it, and it kills me. But each their own. But the way Thunder reacts when he sees the dead body of Lopan, he just gets really fat. That's always stuck with me. And he just blows up. His face gets huge. His feet get huge. I really enjoy that scene.
He gets so upset, like that's his boy. His boy just died.
Well, I'm assuming that they're alive because of Lopan, that they're somehow involved with the curse, is how I always took it.
Well, they're supernatural, I would say.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, due to Lopan's issues, they probably crossed paths and just stuck with him.
Yeah, or somehow they're involved with the curse, too. That's how I feel like a lot of this mystical stuff idea is that, you just kind of get, your men get tangled in it, too.
That could
Over
well
there.
be.
And then when the way they killed Lightning, I like that, where he's kind of losing it too, but he doesn't blow up, but he's angry because he sees his master was killed, and they just drop a statue on his head when they're trying to climb up the holes. I thought that was also good. And then I like how the way that this wraps up with them escaping the place. That luckily they lost enough people, otherwise they wouldn't be able to just jump in the truck and everybody fit in the truck. But all the people in yellow, a lot of the people in yellow headbands died, so we're all set.
I thought the same thing. That's a pretty big truck. There might be sleeping quarters in the back, but yeah, that's still a pretty tight fit.
I'm pretty sure that, there's still some of the Chang Sing alive.
Just not many.
They're just still fighting.
They just left them. Yeah.
And they're grown up, still get home.
When they're driving the truck away, I do like how the police show up and they just take a right turn. The police just don't even, they're not looking for them. They're looking for, what's all the commotion is at the building.
Right.
Isn't the building blowing up too or something? Or just...
No, I don't think so. Although there was, I don't know. That's a good question.
No, maybe not. Maybe they just, I'm not sure, but maybe they just said, hey, a truck just something, blew up. I don't know. But, I guess they just don't tell. It doesn't matter to us. But I do like how he finally gets his truck back and then Grace's like, well, do you have an extra key? He's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
To me, that just seems crazy because I would never leave a key in my car.
It was a different time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because to me, that just seems like you're asking for trouble. But then again, this is the 80s.
And this whole movie, Jack Burton's been asking for trouble, so...
Literally asking for trouble, yes. Yeah, hey! Nicely done.
It's also a very good little ending, too, where he goes to the restaurant, he gets his money, finally,
Nothing.
and he doesn't kiss Gracie when he leaves. And I even like how Margot's like, are you going to kiss her? And he's like, I don't think so.
It's such a Han Solo moment. It really is. It's a very cool character beat, and I really like they went that route. It's very fun. And I love her reaction. It's like, yeah, I kind of figured. Let me think about it. It's very fun.
I like how she's like, you could get a larger truck with a cab in it, and we could travel across the country. And he's like, yeah, no.
I piss off everybody eventually.
I love that.
And Egg just leaves. He just walks out the door. He's like, I'll see you guys. Little Pan's dead. I'm done here. Like, that idea that he also isn't exactly like, there's more to him, that he is like a mystical being.
It's vacation time, which, Egg deserves a vacation.
And I love how the very last scene of this movie is the monster on the back of the truck.
I love it. Love it. I just love it. It's great. It's such a nice little ending to it. And he's doing his same little kind of mini monologues in the beginning. Jack doesn't, sometimes in movies, I'm always thinking like, really, I want a character to arc. It is great that Jack Burton has zero arc in this movie. He ends the same as he was before. He's immovable. And I really love that for some weird reason. And I don't know why.
Because it's done well. It's good.
Can I get a hell yeah for zero personal growth?
Hell yeah. Let's go. Didn't learn a thing. Fantastic. Did stuff. Didn't matter. Moving on with our lives. Yes.
But it works for this movie, so there's no complaints.
It actually does. I don't know why, and I'm not smart enough to figure that out, or else I'd make movies.
I still can't believe this is your first time that I introduced you to this.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I've always known about this movie. This is not a surprise. Ooh, what's this little flick? But for some reason, I think I had it in my head that I had seen it. And then, like I said, the first minute, I'm like, no, I have not. And then my wife's like, well, strap in. Right. Yeah, I'm very glad I saw it. This is definitely something I'll be seeing again and again.
I'm happy to be able to introduce you to this. It makes me happy to hear. It really does. Because especially with some of, like I said, a lot of the crap we've been doing, I'm glad to give you something good.
Yeah, no, I think that.
Well, Dirty Harry was good too. So
yeah, Dirty Harry was good.
There were a couple stinkers we did in a row. I just can't remember what they were now. I don't think I want to, but I know there were a few stinkers.
We're in a happy place now. This is a place of fun and good times. You don't need to relive those bad past experiences.
Was there ever supposed to be a sequel of this?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
I was going to, no matter what.
This was one of the rare movies that John Carpenter directed that he didn't write. Like, he didn't do a lot of them, but he definitely did this one. Like, this was written by other people. It originally started life as a Western.
Yeah.
That's weird.
It would have been very weird. But fortunately, saner, cooler heads prevailed, modernized it. And there's, it makes more sense now. But not really. Originally, this was a one and done. And John Carpenter would never really work with the studio again after this movie.
Because it bombed, I'm assuming, or
because Fox just screwed him over every which way and again.
Yeah, that's fair.
So it's unfortunate, but it never. I don't think it ever needed a sequel per se. But of course, it's the late 2000s, so we got to start talking about it. In June 2015, Dwayne Johnson was trying to develop a sequel remake.
Why him? He was just trying to attach himself to everything at one point, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well. He owes the army money, so good for him.
Like, I think he could have pulled it off. He's got enough charisma when he's not being a jerk.
Like, I'd love to see him do something totally different, or it could be a similar story. I wouldn't want to see this remade. It's really hard to remake something and have it be better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The body standard, Invasion of the Body Snatchers being the exception, of course.
On 2018, they started developing it as a sequel rather than a remake.
Be okay, maybe.
And basically, with 21st Century Fox going over to Disney, everything just kind of went.
That's fair.
Which is fair and fine.
I don't know if you need another one of these. I don't think you'd be able to recapture it. I really don't. Yeah, there's something wild and manic about this movie that it's kind of special in its own way. I think a sequel would just be, kind of ho-hum. Kind of like this Crow sequel that's eventually going to come out at some point. I can't imagine this being good.
Oh, yeah, that's the end of this month. End of August.
Is it coming out soon? Is it actually coming out?
Yeah.
It's a remake, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it looks bad.
It does, but I'm going to go see it.
I'm going to wait for Kenneth Sanity's official review before seeing it.
Exactly. Exactly.
It did have a video game, this movie.
I did not know that until just now. As you said it, I was reading it too.
Yeah. Commodore 64s, the X Spectrum, the Amstrad CPC. Apparently, it's a single player beat 'em up. You can play as Jack, Wang Chi, or Egg, which is awesome.
So great.
There also is a ROM hack that somebody took Double Dragon and put Big Trouble in Little China paint over it.
Oh, that's cool.
Sounds familiar.
And apparently there's a comic book miniseries.
Yep, there
From Boom Studios?
is. Old Man Jack. Because in 2017, everybody was doing Old Man blank. But yeah, it's basically a direct sequel written by John Carpenter and Anthony Birch of Borderlands 2 and Hey Ash, What You Playing fame.
I should read it someday.
It's hard.
Okay.
It's hard to find.
I mean, I didn't say I was going to buy it, sir.
It's hard to find. I didn't stutter. Like, I couldn't even find it using your methods.
Wink.
Methods.
But yeah, the only way to get this is pretty much buy the comics secondhand. I know on Wikipedia it says a 4-issue limited series. That's a lie. It's actually 12 issues.
Then I found it, by the way.
Of course you did.
So,
Is it hard?
no.
No.
It just helps when you have a bunch of different websites bookmarked on your browser. Helps a lot, by the way. So,
But yeah, it's basically Jack Burton comes out of retirement to battle Ching Dai, the god that cursed Lopan.
oh, that's cool.
And he and Lopan actually have to team up at some point.
Ooh.
I am curious to read it now and cover it. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but the curiosity is there.
I think now would be the time for a sequel. Because this movie, yeah, it failed in the box office, but it has such a huge cult following now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Like, I remember when The Rock was talking about his version, I remember how pissed off people were. Like, they were angry.
I think it's people were just getting angry about The Rock being in things, too.
That might be. But, you know, I know a lot of people that love this.
Yeah, this is a beloved cult thing, and I'm glad this found an audience after the fact, right? So many of these kind of movies just go away and they become the stuff of, like late night, 2 a.m. on cable kind of thing. The fact that it's found an audience later on just again shows how great of a filmmaker John Carpenter is, and just how much care is put into this. So I'm really glad this found an audience. This is one of those movies where I'm just glad this exists in the world. It's kind of proof the world can be a good place. The fact that this exists and is beloved, it makes me happy that this is good.
Same. I'm so glad that you got to experience it because of me. That makes me feel really happy.
Good. Yeah. Listen, I've introduced you to a number of things. You've introduced me to this. So this is good payback.
We should go to Shelf Stacker Box. And Phil, why don't you go first?
You know, it's funny. Sometimes when I do these Shelf Stacker Boxes, I want to be the contrarian and be like, stack. This is a good stack. Just it's not a full sweep, because I'm sure I can guess everybody else's vote, but this is definitely a shelf. I really enjoyed this for all the reasons stated. This is a very well-made movie that is just a fever trip, and what a fun way to spend my Friday night, or Thursday night rather, watching this with my wife. And yeah, I loved it. So nothing more to say other than it's great, and this is definitely on the shelf.
All right, and Zach.
Yeah, overall, I think this is a great action comedy adventure. It's weird, it's funny, it's never boring. Absolutely, this goes on the shelf, the top shelf if we're alphabetizing things properly.
All right, and I'll go next. I'm going to put this on the shelf too. I love this movie, and it felt so good to go back to it again. It's something that needed to be on this podcast, and I'm happy now it's finally part of the podcast. So go on the shelf, and I love this movie. And Ken.
I hate to be the one who has to break the streak. So I'm not going to. I'm going to put this on the shelf.
I thought you were going to build a separate case for it.
No, I can't build a separate case for it, but I will say, like, this movie is just, it's a joy. If you haven't seen it before, go watch it. If you have seen it, I bet you probably forgot how good it is. So go watch it again.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
And take it from somebody who had never seen it before. If you haven't seen this before, really, it is worth seeing. Even after listening to this 2-hour conversation about it, it's something you really should experience. It's just a wild ride, and I think it's definitely holds up to new people watching it. So yeah, it's good. It's good stuff.
All right, and we just want to say this was brought to you by patrons. Vote in our poll. We have 1 to 2 every month. And Zach, where can people find you at?
You can find me on Absolutely the Best Podcast, A Work in Progress, where my co-host George and I are systematically ranking the MCU movies currently. We just did a short episode on Deadpool and Wolverine, and we'll have our Spider-Man Homecoming episode out probably by the time this gets dropped.
Later this month.
All right, yeah. I think
22.
Okay, yeah, this will come out. I think this comes out right around then, actually. Or Spider-Man Homecoming will come out right around then. But I mean, we're pretty easy to find. Just Googling Absolutely the Best Podcast. I'm sure there'll be a link in the show notes, though, too.
There will be.
Awesome. Thank you.
And Bill.
As always, I am continuing to labor in the world of Final Fantasy on A Gamer Looks at 40. And if you've never heard the show before, it's a nostalgic look at the history of video games as told through the stories and recollections of the everyday people who lived it. It's a big old honkin' nostalgia fest, just snorting it. Just like you have to snort this movie, because you can't sip this movie. You have to just ingest it directly into your veins. I don't know how A Gamer Looks at 40 is. So yeah, if you enjoy nostalgic video games and retro video games and people's stories about said titles, I'm in the middle of a giant Final Fantasy series that at this point may take me through the rest of the year. I am taking small breaks though in between. I'm between games. I'm going to do a couple of small episodes because not everybody likes Final Fantasy. So even if you don't dig Final Fantasy, still keep an eye on the show. There's lots of episodes of other series and games, and I will be doing other episodes throughout that are not Final Fantasy related because it's a lot. And yeah, thanks as always for having me, man. This was a blast.
And if you enjoyed this episode, over 650 other episodes of this podcast. You can find everything we do on Podbean. We do movies, comics, TV shows, games, whatever the hell people convince me to talk about. I convince people to talk about it. So check out our giant catalog. You can just search on Podbean. Just search anything. You never know what you're going to find. Spider-Man, Captain America, you'll find stuff. So definitely go check out all that. If you want to support the show, I mentioned we do a Patreon. Please join our Discord free. You'll see a link to the show notes to our Discord. We're always happy to have new people join that. And I want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro courtesy of Helena at Hell Hasphere. You can follow her on TikTok, Twitch, and Instagram. And please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Threads, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, YouTube, audio only. We are on all those different things. I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
So long.
Bye.